Today, Baba is giving us some insight into sleep. And most people in the world today are suffering from lack of sleep or sleep that is not refreshing them. So they sleep a lot, but then they don't feel healed and refreshed. Now, Baba tells us the first thing to understand is who gets tired and who needs to sleep. So, Baba gives the answer that it is the soul that gets tired. It is the soul that needs to sleep. And the body experiences the state of the soul. So when the soul is tired, then the body also feels tired. And when the soul is relaxed, then the body is also, relaxed. Now, Baba says, when you say, I am tired, then who is saying I am tired? It is the soul speaking through the body that says, I am tired. And you see, there's a very simple way to understand this. So, if you conducted a survey where you asked people, are they more tired on work days or on holidays? Then they tell that they get more tired on holidays. And this is very interesting because during a holiday there is less physical work. But you see, the tiredness is increasing because it's not the physical work that makes you tired. It's not the body that's getting tired. It's the soul that's getting tired. And how does the soul get tired? When the soul is body conscious. Yes, so when the soul is in ego, when the soul is doing everything in ego, and when there is, thinking, and when the man buddhi, because the organs of the soul are the mind and intellect. So when the mind and intellect are wandering, then all through the day, because of this constant wandering, the soul gets tired. But why does the mind and intellect wander so much? First thing is because of body consciousness, and second thing is because we don't make the effort to seat ourselves in soul consciousness. So whenever there is body consciousness, there is a lot of wandering of the mind and intellect. And you see, there are people who consciously keep their mind and intellect overworked these days by watching too much, listening to too much. Yes, and if you see people who constantly, are on the phone, they have a lot of tiredness. And because they are sitting physically, but the mind and intellect is consuming a lot of information and working on it. And that makes one tired. But then, if one is not watching anything, one is not listening to anything of the outside world, but according to the sanskars of body consciousness, your mind and intellect is wandering, in things that happened in the past, or you are constantly thinking about sanskars of other people, or about the situations of the drama, or about the future and stuff, then also you start getting very tired. So it's not just, so the mind and intellect, they may be triggered by external senses, or they may just be, wandering under the influence of old sanskars of expansion and vices and stuff. So then you get very tired. Now, Baba tells us that when you need to, feel peaceful and relaxed, what is the effort you make? The effort you make is to become soul conscious. The Swadharma, the religion of the soul, is peace. So you unplug your intellect from everything and everyone of this old world, and just go within and stabilize yourself in the awareness that I am a soul, I am peace. And then when you remember Baba, then Baba is the ocean of peace, and he fills you with peace. Now that's the method to relax. Now you see, in the world it is said, sleep is unconscious meditation, and meditation is conscious sleep. We will understand this also. So you see that when somebody sleeps, so when you go to bed, so when you feel tired, then the general notion is that the body is tired. So you want to, just lie down or make the body comfortable. But then, can you just sleep by going on the bed? No. Your mind keeps working. And then with every passing hour, you start feeling more and more tired. So you're lying on the bed, but you're getting more and more tired because your mind and intellect is working. And then there comes a point, even in the life of a person who is not into spiritual practice, everybody does this. So there comes a point where you look at the clock, or you think about what you have to do tomorrow, and then what time you have to get up, and then you make a decision that now I have to sleep. And I don't have to distract myself. I don't have to think about anything, because I want to now sleep. And that is the time you unplug your attention from everything else. It requires a decision. That decision is important. And it is usually purpose that drives the decision. So, if you don't have to do anything tomorrow, then you don't make that decision, and then you say, I couldn't get sleep all night, but you didn't make that decision because you thought you could afford to do that. But if you know that you have to get up in the morning and be somewhere and do something, then you make that decision, and then you stop the thoughts that were playing on your mind, and you suspend them, and you say that I don't want to engage in them anymore. And then you go to sleep. So that is, you are not aware that you're a soul in a Gyan Kal, and you don't know that you have to remember Baba, but this is a very unconscious way of detaching from the body. And this is what you do when you want to sleep. And that's why sleep is called unconscious meditation, because you detach from the body And when you detach from the body, this is some kind of soul consciousness, which you're doing unconsciously. So this is how it works. And when we come to Baba, Baba gives us the knowledge that you are a soul, you are a point of light, and your vibration is peace, your religion is peace. And whenever, wherever, sitting, standing, walking, you want to detach from, you want to unplug your mind and intellect from everything around you and just stabilize in your peace, you can do that. And when you do that, then you start feeling, the peace that is the quality of the soul. And then the body also feels relaxed. So Baba says that it is the soul that needs to sleep. And you see, these days most people are saying that we don't get adequate sleep because people are not making that decision to detach from the thoughts of the old world and go to sleep. They are just, there comes a point when they just fall asleep, but the mind is still working. So they don't stop, they don't withdraw their attention. That's why the sleep is not energizing. So you have to have this practice, and it's very, very important that we take these breaks in the day when we come to soul consciousness and let go of everything around me and take peace and power from Baba. This is one way to make sure that you don't get tired. And you see, that is something that Baba teaches us to make us athak sevadhari. So we never get tired. So it's not like when we are doing seva in the morning, then we are fresh and doing seva and not in the evening. So even if you didn't get rest, you didn't get the time to take a nap in the afternoon, you should be able to serve with the same zeal and enthusiasm. And that would happen if you maintain this practice of soul consciousness and remembrance of Baba while doing seva. So you don't get tired. So this is one thing. Second thing is when we have the opportunity to sleep. So just don't go and sleep, but make sure that first the soul is at rest. So you come to soul consciousness and then sleep. Don't rush into sleep. And these days, there is this practice of not only rushing into sleep, but lying on the bed and, overworking the mind with watching the phone and stuff. And then that is counterproductive. You're trying to sleep and you're making the soul more unrestful. So Baba says, don't do that, and just leave the phone outside 1 hour before sleep and practice sitting in soul consciousness in good remembrance of Baba, and then go to sleep. And then you will need very few hours of sleep. And people wonder and they ask Brahma Kumaris that how can you just sleep 4 hours, 5 hours and be up and about all day. But we need less sleep because we know how to sleep. There is a method to sleep, and we don't get consumed by the expansion of the world. So we don't get that tired because the body doesn't get tired. It's not physical work that makes you tired. It's the thinking, and thinking makes you tired because that thinking is ego-based. Thinking is very ego-based. That's why Baba says, even when you're doing anything, just stay very easy. Know that Baba is with you and don't take the burden of everything and do it. Just know that you're doing it with Baba, on the directions of Baba, and the current Karavan is with you. So don't take the burden of ego when you're doing something. And mostly, people are not doing anything but taking the burden too much. So, there is one Mata, she doesn't even cook for her children. And then she would say, I'm very worried about my children, worried about my children. I said, you're doing nothing for your children. Why are you worried about them? So, she would, all day her children are eating Maggie. And then she would say, I'm worried about her, my children. So I said, why are you worried about your children? You're the last person who should worry about your children. You're not even taking care of their food. So you see that this is how it is. So people are just thinking about, this is ego based thinking. This ego based thinking is exhausting you. Whereas if you did everything, you could do everything which would even change the world and not get tired. But that is when you do stuff which is meaningful, which is purposeful, you engage in actions which are elevated and which are on Srimad, and you do it in remembrance of the Karavanhar. When you do that, you will not be tired. And then even at night, if you just make that discipline of sitting in soul consciousness and remembrance of Baba before you go to sleep, then you will need very few hours of sleep. And that sleep will energize you like anything. And that sleep, and Baba always says that make that effort so that your sleep is also counted in yoga. And if you just practiced it really well, then your sleep will count as yoga. It takes some time, but then your sleep will be you will sleep for 4 hours, and that 4 hours will be like you have accumulated power from Baba in yoga in 4 hours. So, and just listening to these things won't help. This is a subject of dharana. And if you made that practice, then it will work wonders. So one has to pay attention to dharana, and this is the dharana of sleep, and how you take care that your sleep is good and it is productive. So this is one thing. And then today Baba says that you are the ones who recognize me. And you see, and then Baba says, amongst you also, you recognize me number wise. And do I recognize Baba? But before that, do I recognize myself? Yes, do I recognize that I'm a soul? Am I bothered more about my purification, or am I bothered and concerned more about loss and gain and fame and defamation and happiness and sorrow of the external world? What am I more concerned about? What are you more, what do you say, concerned about, and what are you more stuck in all day? What is your man and buddhi busy in? Do you really know that you are a soul? And it doesn't matter, whatever is outside doesn't matter. It is perishable. Baba says everything that you are seeing with these two eyes is perishable, and it is not going to serve you. And only in whatever you do for yourself, for your purification, for your liberation, that's going to serve you. But where do I invest my body, mind, will, time, energy, thought? In my purification or in the matters of the world? And if that balance, when we check, I find out that it's more in the world, then you definitely know that you're not soul conscious. And I remember I was listening to this one sadhu many years back, and he's an ascetic, and he was sharing that. So I was not in Gyan at that time, and he was sharing that when he was a little child, he had this thought that everyone will die one day and everything will change one day. And then he thought, then who will I be with? Who is my support? And as a child, he started having these thoughts. So, in sannyas, they have thoughts of vairagya. And these thoughts of vairagya started coming to him, that who will be with me? Everybody will take their own way, their own path. And will I be alone, or will I be with somebody? And why am I spending all my life hankering after these people and things which will not serve me? So then he felt that, only God will be with him. And then he started looking for God and, searching for God, and he became a sannyasi. And then I asked him, did you find God? So he said, no, but I'm looking. And then God says, if you look, then you will find. So you see that people in the world, they don't know Baba and they don't have Baba, but they understand that everything else is immaterial, and they spend their life looking for God. Yes, and those are the wisest ones in society. Yes, they are called the wise ones. And then here we have Baba. Here we don't have to look for Baba. Here we don't have to search for Baba. Baba is here, and Baba is giving us the inheritance of a whole new kalpa. And Baba is telling us that don't get concerned about the perishables. Just know that you are a soul, and the only one thing that matters is your spiritual stage, and the only one you need for that is me. So Baba tells us this, and still we don't get it. And if we just got this one thing, then you would, through the very simple process of remembrance, we would burn all our sins and go to the new world. It is so simple for us. And then you see, and then when children don't get it, Baba keeps repeating it for children that, you must understand that everything you see through the eyes is perishable. And don't get caught up in the perishable. And I remember there was this one Kanya, and she told, so she was telling her father that she wants to get surrendered and she wants to do Baba's seva. And then her father said that, who will take care of you? So she said, will you take care of me? You will die one day. So then her father was shocked, and he said, how can you say that? So she said, but do you think you will live forever and take care of me? No. So you will die one day. So he said, no, but I'll get you married. So he said, he can also die. So let me just go to the one who never dies. So the father couldn't say anything, and he said, do whatever you want. I don't understand the language you speak these days. So you see, the thing is, we are so away from the truth in the world. And the truth is that everything is perishable, and only I am a soul, and my Baba is the purifier. My Baba is the Godfather. So, he's the Godfather. Baba says, You have to know that I am the Father and I am God. So Baba is not, what do you say, a weak father or an incapable father. Baba is the God Father. And you see, the relationship with a God Father should be of absolute surrender. And Baba today says that when you follow my directions, you should know that I am responsible. You don't worry about what happens when you follow Baba's directions. I am responsible. And there are children who don't have faith in Baba, and they think that when I follow Baba's directions and Baba is responsible, so with my limited intellect I should feel that Baba is taking my responsibility. So Baba should take a responsibility in a way which makes sense to me. So, there are children who think that, if I followed Baba's direction and something went wrong according to me, then Baba is not taking responsibility. But what does it mean when you say Baba is taking responsibility? It means that you don't knack your brain. It means that you have faith that Baba is taking responsibility. You don't think about whether whatever is happening is, good or not, or pleasant or not. You just know that I am following Baba's directions and Baba is responsible. And do you know that as a child, you are capable of complete trust to the parent? We have full faith in the physical parent and full surrender when we are children. And then sometimes that trust is broken and then you don't trust them anymore. That's a different story. But as a child, you have that complete faith and trust. And then, do you knack your brain when your father makes a decision for you? So, you are crossing the road and then you have held the hand of your parent and then you tag along. You don't see whether the vehicle is coming or not. That's the father's job. He sees whether the vehicle is coming or not, whether they'll hit you or not. And you know that my life matters more to him than to me. Yes, you know that, he is more concerned about my life than me. And you don't know how to be concerned about your life at that time. And your father gets more scared when you are in danger. So Baba says that I am your Godfather. I am the Almighty. I am the all-knowing. I am the omnipotent. And then I am your Father. So when you follow my directions, you know that Baba is responsible. You don't think about what happened when you followed his directions or what will happen or how you will face it. You see, if you follow his directions, Baba says, even if the law is when you follow Srimad, there'll be 1001 obstacles. But despite all of that, you know that Baba is responsible. Why do you care about the obstacles? The obstacles have come and you're with Baba and you will cross them because you're following Baba's directions. And this is something very important that we must never forget about Baba the Godfather and I belonging to Baba the Godfather. And Baba says, do you recognize that you are a soul and you called out to me for 63 births and now I have come. And how would you treat somebody who came by you calling out to him for 63 births? So you called out. If you are inviting somebody for an year to your house and then they come after an year, how do you treat them? You treat them with, lot of love and respect. And Baba says, don't you have respect for me? And what is respect for Baba? So, um, when you invite somebody home and you have respect for them, you don't leave them alone. You don't physically leave them alone. You don't say, you sit here, I am going for a walk. No, you don't do that. So, Baba says, similarly, here it's not about physically being with Baba. It's about being with Baba through your mind and intellect in remembrance. So when you recognize that this is the one I had been calling out for 63 births and now he is here, then you don't allow your mind and intellect to be without remembrance for even a second. Yes, so that is respect for Baba. So forgetting Baba, forgetting the highest on high guest is a sign of disrespect. Yes, can you forget a guest who has come to your place and on your invitation? You cannot ignore that guest. And Baba says, I am the highest on high guest. You call me and now you cannot ignore me. You have to have been my remembrance. And then Baba says, I am the purifier, I am the liberator. And what you need is liberation and purification. And you see, Baba is, so just like, you don't ask how kerosene can clean the rust. That's the property of it. That's its property. So when you dip a rusted piece of nail in kerosene, it cleans it. That's the property of that oil. But Baba says, similarly, I am the purifier. That's my quality. Nobody else is the purifier. Nobody's remembrance can purify you because nobody is the purifier. I am the purifier. I am the liberator. I can liberate you from your sins. And because I liberate you from your sins, you become liberated from sorrow. Because the sorrow is because of the sin. So Baba says, do you recognize that you as a soul, your only concern should be to be purified? Because every problem that you're facing is because of impurity. So when you recognize that it's the seed that you need to water, it's the soul that needs to be purified, then who is your only concern? Baba. Because Baba is the one who will absolve you of your sins. So Baba says, if you recognized me, then you will be worry free, you will just follow my directions blindly, and then you will also, when you recognize me, you will never spend one moment without my remembrance. But do you recognize me and do you recognize that you are a soul? Or are you caught up in the perishables? And you see, the perishables are very deceptive. They engage you until the end and then they just abandon you. They abandon you, and I don't know whether you know how it feels to be abandoned suddenly, but everything that you're holding on to will abandon you just like that without notice. And then you feel so betrayed, so cheated. And Baba says, I'm giving you all that knowledge and you must appreciate this and recognize me and have yoga with me and follow my directions. Okay, Om Shanti.